more. They had key rebounds. The better team tonight was the Oklahoma City Thunder. I can tell you a lot of stuff I thought the Celtics didn't do well. But let's talk about what Oklahoma City did well. SGA is outstanding. He cooked Jaylen Brown. Obviously, Brown was dealing with foul trouble all night long, fouled out of the game. He couldn't defend him. Tatum defended him well. And then they missed their bigs. They missed Porzingis. Chet Holmgren was awesome tonight. The X factor, if you ask me, 23 points, 15 rebounds. He was great. The Celtics shot 63 threes. They took 94 shots. I said before the game, Oklahoma City struggles on the perimeter, but they're so efficient, though. They gave the Celtics the threes, and they went cold. And, it was a tie game in the fourth quarter. Let's call it for what it is. It was 98-98. There was 8 minutes left. And basically went on an 8-0 run, Oklahoma City. They finished on a 20-4 run, was it? You can't give up big runs like that. You can't get cold, and you got to play defense. That's what they did tonight. Now, if you want me to get into it a little bit more, the free throw disparity, I thought the Celtics would go to the line more based off how Oklahoma City puts more teams at the line than anybody. But the Celtics sent Oklahoma City to the foul line tonight 35 times. And they only made 25 of them. The Celtics had chances late, and they had a chance to win this game. In the end, it was defense that won and timely scoring, and that's what Oklahoma City did. So I'm tipping my cap to OKC. They were the better team tonight. They'll have to get to the finals in order to potentially take on the Celtics, but they were the better team tonight. No doubt about it. Jaylen Brown was awful. Jaylen Brown killed the Celtics tonight. Yeah, he only turned the ball over twice, but he was 0 for 5 from downtown, which were wasted possessions. He went 5 for 15 from the field, and he couldn't defend. Crushed him. And the Celtics didn't really get much from their bench. Pritchard gave him 8. Cornette gave him 9. I guess they got 20 off their bench if you really want to look into it. But just 63 threes. They were giving them the 3. And at times, the Celtics would get hot, go on a run. Then they get cold, and OKC would go on the run. They're a great team. I tip my cap. I think Oklahoma City's been the better team all year long. I think the Cavs have been a better team all year long. I bet after tonight, Oklahoma City is the favorite to win the championship. And there, I would say, pump the brakes. The Thunder pulled away with the win tonight. They pulled away with it. The Celtics have been closing games. The way that they started this homestand, loss at home to the Cavs, loss at home to Oklahoma City Thunder. Everything else in the middle, they took care of business. But those two teams, I think now they know that they can play against the Celtics. My money is still on Boston. My money is still on Boston, but man, they gave you the 3 tonight. You took it. You missed it. And, the free throw thing, it didn't help the Celtics. I've never seen Derek White foul out of a game in my life. 35 free throws to 12. I mean, if you really want to get to the nitty-gritty, SGA, how many free throws did he have? He had 11 free throws on the night. The Celtics had 12. But when you're not playing good defense, you're not getting the calls. So I tip my cap to Oklahoma City. Joe Mazzulla after the game tonight, they lived at the free throw line. I agree. They got to the paint and got to the free throw line. Something I wish the Celtics may have done, but I think Brown was so out of his game, he couldn't take advantage of it. So if you're coming home from the game, you want to react to it, 617-779-0985. We are here until 11 o'clock tonight. Do we need a break, Skaz? Or no, we can let it go. All right, what'd you think of tonight? I tip my cap. I think Oklahoma City's been one of the best teams. They struggled to stop the perimeter, and, well, the Celtics tried to take advantage of it. If I could compare it to a football analogy, remember when the Patriots used to show a look of like 4 defensive backs on the field and Peyton Manning would check down to a run? It was like the Patriots liked it when he checked down to a run, Tonight, Oklahoma City was, all right, we'll give you the perimeter. They took it. They just couldn't capitalize on it. They went on runs, don't get me wrong. But late in the game, Oklahoma City made their shots and defended and got to the line. The Celtics continued to just a barrage of threes, and that little 8-0 run, that was it in the game, and they ended up losing. So I tip my cap to OKC.
Yeah, I think OKC is the best team in the league. They have been all year. I think the Celtics are, right behind them. And I'm sure people will point to the Porzingis thing and say, Porzingis wasn't out there tonight. I'll tell you, Jalen Williams is a hell of a player. You probably, don't watch a lot of him or might not even know who he is. He's, going to be an all-star for a lot of years to come. He's an elite defender, does, a little bit of everything right. And Alex Caruso is another guy they were missing tonight. So it's not just the Celtics who are without guys. Those are 2 big pieces for OKC. And you mentioned the 3-point shooting. The Celtics shot over 60, and OKC shot under 40. That's a major discrepancy, and you saw that in the free throws. I know you said Joe Mazzulla mentioned free throw shooting postgame. I'm not a fan of that. When you shoot 63s and the other team is constantly driving to the paint, they're going to shoot more free throws than you. You don't shoot free throws from shooting threes. It's not how it works. Jaylen Brown was bad tonight. Not a good night for Jaylen Brown. I thought he was bad on both ends. SGA, had him going sideways a lot of the night, and then I think he gets frustrated and he reaches, makes fouls when he's beat, and then frustration on offense, bad shots. I think this is maybe a little bit of a wake up call to Celtics fans that the Porzingis thing. You need this guy. This isn't last year. The NBA is better than it was last year. The team that comes out of the West, who I think will be the Thunder, will be better than the Mavericks were last year. That was a hobbled Mavericks team that was all offense. OKC is a defensive team. They want to get you in the mud, and that's what they did tonight. And Cleveland, if you don't have Porzingis against Cleveland, Mobley's a guy that can really hurt you. So, for me, this was a little bit of a wake-up call for the Celtics. You can't win a title without a healthy Porzingis and without Jaylen Brown playing like he did last postseason.
I'm curious who can defend SGA on the Celtics. I think it's Tatum. I don't know if they'd start it like that, but I thought Pritchard also did okay. I'm actually interested to see the numbers, But Jaylen Brown got cooked.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if they do meet again in the finals, you'll see Jaylen Brown on him. You give him that.
A more rested, probably, Jaylen Brown.
He's earned that. He will start on him, but then from there, I do think, you see Holiday, you see White, and then late in games, what they usually do is they'll throw Tatum at him. He's much bigger than SGA, much longer, makes everything tougher. So, yeah, that would be what I would do. But SGA, a guy who, gets... He's probably the MVP favorite. I personally think it should be Jokic, and that's no affront to SGA in any way. He is a top 3-4 player in the league, whatever you want to say. He was absolutely incredible tonight. And the free throw thing, he earns a lot of them. Does he pull the James Harden every once in a while and get some extra ones? For sure, but that's on the Celtics. You know who he is. You know what he's going to try and do. You have to stop that, and they didn't do a great job of it tonight.
I'll say this. I thought SGA was the best player on the court tonight. How many times can you say that for a team playing the Celtics? And quite frankly, he was the best player in both Celtics-Thunder matchups. In the fourth quarter, he took over of both of the games. Just they couldn't get a stop at 62 threes. Oh, my God. Do I think they can win playing that style, a championship? I already told you I think they can. This year is going to be different. The path is going to be different. The teams are going to be different. The challenge is going to be different. I think Oklahoma City was giving the Celtics the 3, and they used it against them. Yep, did the Celtics... all they had to do was keep it close within 8 minutes, and SGA took over the game and got the whistles. In the 2 games this year, the Celtics have been horrible. They shot 19% from 3 in the first meeting. They have gone an combined 8 for 50 from 3-point range in the second half of their 2 losses versus against OKC. 8 for 50? Here's another thing. If SGA is going to the basket and getting the fouls, why did the Celtics go away from going to the basket as well? And again, I'll tell you why, because the defensive philosophy tonight from Oklahoma City was guard the perimeter. Don't defend it. Guard it. The Celtics took their shots and they missed. They went cold. That doesn't happen every night. It happened in the past 2 games against Oklahoma City.
I don't know if you saw this on the broadcast, Joe, but do you know how many times SGA has scored 30-plus points this season?
How many?
40.
Holy smokes. Yeah, I think he was the best player on the court tonight. I really do. I don't know about the last meeting, but tonight I do. And, in the fourth quarter, he's been the guy in both wins. That's a fact. So when you say maybe a little look in the mirror kind of thing, I get it. Still think the Celtics all around are the best team. All right, let's go to the phones. 617-779-0985. Let's go Tim in the Garden. Hey, Tim. Tim.
Hey, Joe.
Hey.
Can you hear me? Joe, can you hear me?
I can, buddy. How are you?
Good. And I was at the game. I got to tell you, I didn't really get the Gilgeous-Alexander thing until I saw it in person. But I'll tell you what, man, when you watch him in action in person, it's very obvious. He's faster than everyone else on the court. He's faster. That's what it is. He's so fast. He can get by anybody that he wants to. That is why he's going to be the MVP. He is so freaking fast.
Yep, I agree, Tim. We were talking. He had a move on Jaylen Brown where he just did a simple behind the back dribble, but Jaylen jumped to the other side, and by the time he came back over, SGA was inside the paint and had a nice little backwards kiss off the glass. He's incredible. And the thing is, everyone just plays around him. They don't pick and roll. They spread. And then they chase all their rebounds. Cam is in the car. Hey, Cam.
Hey, Murray, love the show. Don't always get a chance to call because of the late night. But so, really quickly here, this whole Porzingis thing, you need this guy. And I love the acquisition when they traded for Smart and all that. But this is actually at the point, where we did get a chip and we have a chance to get another one. But this injury thing is a real issue with Porzingis. As far as tonight's game goes, this was a meaningless game going into. As a diehard Celtics fan, I'm not with Felger and Maz. I'm with you, Murray, all the way. Kiss the ring. I'm with all of that. I really am, as the NBA champions. But at the end of the day, whether the Celtics still win this game or not, we're still the second team in the East. They're still the first team in the West. However, based on what I see tonight with Jaylen Brown playing like complete crap, no Kristaps Porzingis, the way OKC won today, and as great as SGA is, he's undeniably the MVP. Dude's having an incredible year. There's no way that Oklahoma City is able to do this. They snuck by us with Jaylen Brown playing like crap and no KP. They're going to be able to do this 4 out of 7 times. I just think it's crazy. I think the Celtics really need to figure out what they're going to be doing with Porzingis moving forward, regardless of how the season ends up. But we need a guy like that available at all times.
Yeah, I think they could have won the game without Porzingis. So I think the team needs to figure out how they can win games without Porzingis. It's just they have. This game tonight was about Oklahoma City. This game tonight was about SGA being the best player on the court. This game tonight was late in the game, SGA decided to go to the basket while the Celtics continued to shoot threes. Now, I'm not saying that the philosophy was wrong or any of that. I just think that that was what they wanted them to do. They wanted them to shoot threes tonight. They went cold. They gave up an 8-0 run. Like, tip your... I'm not going to sit here and kill Joe Mazzulla. But I do kind of wish it was a back and forth Tatum SGA. Everyone spread the floor. I don't know. Maybe if I was going to get on Mazzulla, that's probably it. Mike's in Natick. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Joe. On the Joe Mazzulla, I worry that games like this, he can't change his philosophy. You called it with 8 minutes left, tie game. Did he call a timeout in the last 8 minutes when the momentum swung? No. He didn't change anything. And in a close series, I worry that he will be the problem and not KP or Jaylen
Mike,
Brown.
I'll back you on that. I think most of the Celtics' struggles this year have been the approaches by Joe Mazzulla.
I agree.
All right, cool. When you're shooting 19% or 18% from three, I think the coach needs to bring everybody together. I'm not going to overreact on this loss. Here's the deal with the Celtics, everybody. They're locked into the second spot. Now's the time to get Jaylen Brown as healthy as he can get for the playoffs. Ramp Porzingis back up, who, by the way, was on the bench tonight and was questionable play. He just didn't play. I think you figure out the next 16 games, get guys rest, and maybe start to come up with a playoff rotation. But I'll give you one more takeaway before we hit the break. This losing at home thing's starting to piss me off. I remember Tatum specifically saying, we want to be a better team at home. They wanted to take pride in that. They've been closing out the games. That's why I'm giving them a pass. But losing to Cleveland and then losing to OKC in Boston? Not an overreaction on my part. I'm just stating facts. They're now giving belief to these other teams. SGA was incredible tonight. And down the stretch, he got to the line. They couldn't defend him. And if he missed a shot, it was Chet Holmgren there for the rebound. Yes, Porzingis was missing. They need a big. No doubt. They still could have won this game tonight without him. One more. Luke's in Vermont. Hey, Luke.
Hey, Joe. How's it going?
How you doing, buddy?
Good. The non-Tatum minutes tonight had to have been horrible. I don't know what they are, but I agree with some of the earlier callers. SGA is better than I thought he was. I had never seen him in person, and he was really good. But I think back to 2 years ago, and it was almost not back-to-back games, but it was relatively close. Memphis and OKC, and Tatum locked up SGA and John Morant at the end of both of those games in close competitive games, and he took those guys. He took that challenge, and I know they ask him to do so much, and you can't put too much on his plate, especially when you have such good other players, but I would really like to see him on SGA more. I just think the length and the strength, I just think he's the guy to possibly guard him. I really do. And like you said, I would have liked to see Missoula just cut Tatum loose a little bit and just see the two of them kind of go back and forth, tit for tat, and kind of see what happened.
Yeah, what I would have done was just SGA versus Tatum rest of the way and get Brown out of the way. I think Brown hurt the team big time tonight.
And both guys got to get to the rim.
Yep.
I mean, they're so strong. They're so physically gifted. I get it. They like the threes, but at some point, they're both good from the mid-range. 63s is too much, Joe.
It is.
They should not be double OKC when OKC is a good team who shoots a fair amount of threes.
Yeah.
Like, that's out of whack.
Exactly. And when you're shooting 18% and you make no adjustment, that's on the coach.
Come on. Yeah. Have a good night, Joe.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate you, bud. I'm not trying to overreact. I'm just spitting facts about the team. They need to, at times, when you're struggling, you got to get to the hoop, especially when the whistle is blowing. Because it was a blowing tonight. It's not why you lost the game. The philosophy was get into the paint. When Derek White fouls out for the first time in his career, you know that SGA was getting inside the paint and was effective. You know when Jaylen Brown fouls out, and it literally impacted his performance tonight, all SGA. He was the best player on the floor. And listen, I'm not saying that Tatum sucked by any means. He might have had a couple of turnovers here and there.
Yeah, Joe, to your point, to the caller's point, the Celtics with Tatum on the floor tonight were a +4. Did you say this?
No.
They were a +4 in 41 minutes. With Tatum off the floor, they were a -10 in 6 minutes and 45 seconds.
That's the difference in the game.
There you go. So Tatum does everything.
Randomly, maybe we can do this during the break, but what was Brown on and off? Let's do that one. Because I think Jaylen Brown hurt the team. And here's the deal. Who do you go to? Pritchard? See, I don't think Pritchard got cooked tonight by SGA by any means. I actually thought he kind of stayed with him. But they have a roster spot still, right? But if they get signed, they can't play in the playoffs. Is that it? I don't know what the rule is with that. They need a defender.
Jalen only a -2 tonight.
-2, huh? Oh, I thought he helped out on rebounds and some other areas, but man, the Celtics needed. Fact of the matter is, it needs to be Jaylen Brown. Forget about looking down the rest of the bench. Jaylen Brown needs to look in the mirror tonight. He needs to be better defensively, and that's a fact. We'll tell you who that is coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics fall to Oklahoma City tonight, 118-112. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 34 points. They got to the line 37.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
SGA at half court against Jaylen Brown. Doesn't want to foul. SGA forces one up from the free throw line and somehow pushing it from 15 feet away. He banked it in. Celtics throw away the inbound, don't get a shot away, and that is how the first half will come to an end.
Standing tonight, I know. I mean, I'll tell you this much: I've watched the kid play. Tonight was something different. Skaz and I had it on in the studio. We had it on two different TVs. One was like 15 seconds behind the radio, and then the other TV was like 20 seconds behind the radio. So we got a good look at SGA tonight. He was outstanding. He was fast as hell. And I'll tell you, I don't know how many players in the league anymore, their objective is to get inside the paint. Right? How many point guards these days are splitting people to get inside the paint and at a fast rate with great ball handling?
I would say it's SGA and it's Ja, pretty much.
Ja Morant,
the two guys.
Kyrie can do it, but he's not the same. He's not the same guy. But there's not, Dwayne Wade was a guy I used to think who could do it, but he's two-guard, way different type of player. SGA's long too. He's smooth, right? Very, very smooth, sleeky, I would say at times. He's got a kiss off the glass, man. That is really nice.
They were getting some bounces tonight.
It was weird. Sometimes when I watched him, I thought Rondo. Now he's bigger, obviously. Maybe it's the point. I don't know. Point guard. Maybe it's those layups, the long reaches. Using his long arms. He was great tonight.
Something on SGA, too, that should be brought up when he's discussed is the OKC acquiring him is one of the greatest fleece jobs in not just NBA history, but sports history. They traded Paul George and received Danilo Gallinari, SGA, a 2021 first that became Trey Mann, fine, a 2022 first that became Jalen Williams, stud, 2023 first that became Jaime Jaquez Jr., a 2023 first-round pick swap, 2024 first-round pick became Dylan Jones, and they still have a 2025 first-round pick and a 2026 first-round pick from that trade. So you got SGA, who is a better player than Paul George, and all of those other things for just Paul George. That is one of the great trades in NBA history. The Clippers, just an abysmal mistake there.
Oh, my God. The Clippers had SGA and let him go. By the way, Sam Presti's the best in the business. It's hard to argue.
Local guy.
That's right. Celtics set a new NBA record in attempted threes tonight. They didn't make a bucket inside the arc in the first quarter. Of their 24 field goal attempts tonight, 22 of them were three-pointers in the opening frame. They finished 20 for 63. That's 31%. In the second half, the threes were awful. They went 5 of 27. But the Thunder got to the free throw line. It was almost like the Thunder were like, we're just going to beat you by ones. And you can shoot all the threes you want. We'll just keep shooting ones. If this is a potential finals preview, I still think the Celtics win off of experience. But I still think, here's the deal. We got a minute to go here. SGA and Chet Holmgren or Brown and Tatum? And I'm telling you, it's Brown and Tatum. Now, if you throw Jalen Williams in there on Porzingis, I still take the Celtics. Still. No doubt about it, though. They're the young, up-and-coming risers. And they'll have to face Golden State and the Lakers. The Celtics just got to take care of the Cavs. And I think they're good enough.
They got Jokic out there waiting too.
Oh, he's waiting too. That's right. Final hour of the sports are brought to you by Valvoline. It's an oil change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your next drive-through oil change. Mac Jones to the 49ers.
I got to give a shout-out to my guy, Joe Murray, because during the Celtics game, we started, guessing where Mac Jones could go. And Joe said, Shanahan loves him. Why not the 49ers?
And it happened within minutes. I won't flex. Celtics finished the homestand 5-2, everybody. It's not bad.